Hey guys, Monica here. Wanted to do a intro to this video really quick. So this is going to be kind of a reading vlog video. It's also going to be a surprise for a friend. My friend Emmy, we were college roommates for 2 years. We're still really good friends. Pretty sure when we first met, they told me about a book series that they really liked. And I actually have the books here. It's the Silo series by Hugh Howey? I don't know. But they love this series. It's been out since like 2012, so this series is over 10 years old. They love this series, would talk about it all the time. And just recently, Apple TV put out a trailer that they were doing a TV show based off of this book series. I don't know if the show is out yet. Or will be out at the time of recording this video. I don't know, because when I saw that Emmy or Zyphase is their handle, put the handle here so you can look them up. They do a lot of cosplay content if you are into that. I saw that they shared the trailer, and so I didn't watch it, so I have no idea if it's out, when it'll be out, who's in it, because I decided I was going to read the books since I have them. I got them at a library sale, so they were basically free to me. But I want to read these books before I even attempt to watch the series, because I don't have Apple TV. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I wanted to read these books and then kind of just surprise my friend. So I don't know if I'm going to share me surprising Emmy in this video, or if I'm just going to share my thoughts on the series in this video. But I will be surprising them when I finish all 3 books. So hopefully I can get through them pretty quickly and then figure out a way to watch the series. But another reason why I didn't watch the trailer or anything is because I didn't want the trailer to, one, spoil anything that would happen and put images in my head of the story. I want to have like my own interpretations first, but that is what's going to happen. I'm not going to start the books today. I'm actually doing some spring cleaning in my room, going through my closet, bins, all that stuff, to find things to get rid of. So I'm going to finish that tonight, because I did finish a book earlier today, so I'm in like a little bit of a book hangover. I want to finish those feelings before I hop into Wool. But I'm going to do that and maybe start Wool tonight. But I will update you while I'm reading Wool. I wanted to give a quick update on my progress with, oh, let me grab the book. With Wool, the first in the Silo series. I am this far in. I've passed the first like part. I'm on part 2. It's a weird way because I'm holding my phone right now. I'm on part 2 right now. I got Iron Vow in the very beginning of May, and I dropped Wool so I could read this during May, because you know how much I love Julie. So I finished that. Now picking this back up again. Ooh, it matches my nails. We love that. I'm very confused on what's happening, but I'm also very intrigued. Like, the entire time I wasn't reading this, I was thinking back to, but wait, Holston went outside, and why was the headset all green and blue? Whatever. This vlog, I should say now, will be filled with spoilers. I will have spoilers in here. But I'll try and update maybe once every part. So when I finish part 2, I'll try and give another update. But I'm gonna go visit a friend. Hey, so I was taking a shower earlier today, and I realized I have not updated on this book in a bit. And I am now into part 5. I am very much a good portion of the way through this book. Even though Storygraphs tells me I'm like 57%, I feel that's more than 57, but who knows? I am very much liking this book. So many character deaths, so many things happening too, which is just crazy. It makes me worried for the characters that are still there, because it's like, what's gonna happen to them? So I'm trying to find time in between work and being a functioning human being to read this. So hopefully I can finish this book soon and then get started on the next one, which is Shift. I always forget which one's next, but I'll be able to find that online. But I have both books, so it's good. Very pleased that I've started reading these. Wish I had read them before, because this is definitely something when I was in like my dystopian phase as a child, like we all were in that dystopian era of literature that was cranking out in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. This would have definitely been a book I gravitated towards. So yay. New update. I don't even remember when I updated last, but I know it was a while ago because I've gotten a lot further with these books. I have finished Wool completely. I got to, I don't even remember when I last updated for this, but essentially once I got to part 4 of this book, I went so fast with it because I just wanted to know what was happening, you know, what was going to happen to Jules and Solo and all of that. I was very excited. I, for a moment, thought we were going to lose Solo. Was about to put the book down. I was like, nope, I will not watch, I will not finish this, watch it. I will not finish this if Solo goes, but he didn't, and like I said, this is gonna have spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, you've gone too far into the video. But I really did like Jules' storyline and all that. If you can hear the multitude of vehicles outside my window, I'm sorry. I live kind of on a busy street, and I forgot to shut my window, and I'm sitting on the floor, and I don't want to get back up. But I very much loved following Jules and the things that she did, the way her brain works for figuring out, you know, how to do that. And even though she didn't stay in, they were in 17 and she was in 18, right? Yeah, so even though she didn't stay in Silo 18, or she didn't stay in 17 to see it, you see at the ending, Jimmy, Solo, and the little kids, they get to see the water level going down. I have no idea what that means for Silo 17, since they're like the only ones there. And obviously, I knew from the very beginning when Jules met Lucas in the cafeteria, looking at the stars, and they had their first conversation, I was like, they're gonna end up together. And they did. I didn't necessarily have any emotion towards their relationship. I didn't like hate it. I didn't love it at the beginning. At the end though, I did like it. I mean, the romance wasn't necessarily the main focal point, which is kind of why I liked it. Books like this, I don't like when the romance is so forward. It's romance books. The romance can be as forward as needed because it's a romance book. Books like this, I don't want the romance too forward in the plot. Like, it can definitely be like a decent subplot, but I don't want it to almost overshadow what's actually happening. I finished this. It became my first 5-star read of the year. So I have finally finished a 5-star read. So I'm very excited about that. And then I started, I don't know where to put you. There are things on my shelves. You can't see it in here. I've got a stack of pictures here. I don't want to put the book on it. But I started the next book, Shift. And it took me a second to get into this one because Shift does not follow the same characters from Wool. So Wool follows people in the silos years after they have been created. There's been generations living in these silos. Shift follows 2 different storylines at the very beginning. And like the first part, what's called first shift, and then there's like second shift. There's like parts to it that are different shifts. And so you follow, in the first part, you follow a politician named Donald from Alabama, and he's working on this secret project with another senator, Senator Thurman, to create the silos as kind of like a precaution, because Donald, his background is in architecture. So Thurman was like, hey, do this for me. I helped you get elected. And so they do that. And then the other storyline you follow is Troy, which is the head command of Silo 1, who does these shifts where they go into like cryo freeze. So they're like frozen for years, and then they're let out for a little bit to run the silo, and then they're frozen again until years and years down the line. I don't know why they keep freezing them and bringing them back. They're also trying to like erase their memory and stuff like that. The memory wiping is not working on Troy, because from where I am, I like just got to part 2. I'm like in part 2 now. You learn that Troy is Donald. They are the same person. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh my God, because Troy was like, I'm trying to remember things are coming back, I don't know why. And I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if Troy was Donald? And then, next thing you know, I was proven right. And I love when that happens. You learn that Donald was originally supposed to go into a different silo. There was like this big conference thing, and it was basically, there's 50 silos, one for every state. And so he was originally going to go to, I think, the Tennessee one with his wife. And then last minute, the day of, Thurman, the senator who put this all together, was like, I want you to stand in the Georgia one with me. The Atlanta one for Atlanta, Georgia. I want you to stand here with me. And he was like, oh, okay. But his wife never made it. Something happened, and they all got forced into the silos. He was tricked to go without his wife. And they changed his name. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. After they kind of realized that his memory's not wiping, they put him back what they call the deep sleep, where it was like, we're not going to let you out until like their final shift, where they're not going to get frozen again. But then they did wake him up. And so now he is currently awake, hanging out with his ex-girlfriend, which is Thurman's daughter, which is how he knew Thurman. And they're trying to figure out why some of the other silos are going dark and not responding to them. And one of the silos is Silo 18. So it is now connecting to Wool. I'm hoping. Where I left off right here, right before I picked up, it says Silo 18. So it's just looking at the name Mission. I don't know why I don't recognize that name, because I just finished Wool. But then again, I will read something and all the knowledge of what I've read, everything gone. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the characters. All I know is that the third book, let me grab it, Dust, this one goes back to Juliet and Silo 18. So I don't know if it's going to connect, like the story of Wool, where Wool left off, is going to start connecting in here, and then from here into Dust, or if Dust is going to go from where Wool left off, and this is going to bring us to right before Wool started. I'm not sure. I love the mystery. I love that I don't know what's going on, that I don't know, there are certain things that I just don't know, that is a mystery to me. Whereas the other, like the smaller things like Jules and Lucas, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that they weren't alone in Silo 17 during Wool. I was like, there is someone, they're not crazy, and they're going to meet, and they're not, it's going to be fine, which it was. It was a bunch of kids. Very much enjoying this, and I'll probably read more tonight, but right now I am going to go make something to eat, because I did just get off of work, and I didn't eat literally my entire shift. I had some gummy bears at the beginning of my shift, but that's not enough. So I'm going to go make something to eat, and I'm going to go watch a documentary on Netflix, because I also want to bust through my Netflix and Hulu and Disney watch lists, like things that I've wanted to watch but I just haven't yet. So I want to try and bust through that a little bit. So I'm going to do that now. And hopefully I will update you again a lot sooner on Shift instead of when I'm halfway through Dust. But who knows? Hi. Next update. I have finished part 2. I'm on part 3 now. 74% of the way through. when we get to part 3, it starts with Jimmy in Silo 17, aka Solo. And it starts on the day that his silo goes kablooey. I don't necessarily know how to explain it because I'm not sure like exactly what happened. So it's starting with, there was supposed to be a cleaning the next day, and for some reason their airlock opened the day before, and so everyone's freaking out and for some reason running up the stairs towards the airlock. Which, I don't know about you guys, but if I grew up in a silo under the ground where my entire life, I was told the air outside would kill me. Done. Dead. Gone. And the airlock opened accidentally, I would not be going up the stairs toward the air. I'd probably be going further down or hiding in my apartment. Not sure what's happening there. Maybe I'd have to be in the silo to get it. But I'm not, so I don't. But also, Mission's story. I realized after reading again that Mission was like a different storyline in Silo 18. But I don't know where within the timeline of like Wool it would fit in. Like, how far is it before Wool or after Wool is Mission's story? Like, am I gonna encounter Mission in Dust? You know, I don't know. I really don't. I'm so confused as well with Donald right now, Donald's storyline, and that he's woken up and people think he's Thurman or Thawman because of the tube he was, or the pod he was labeled in. Part of me is wondering, did Anna kill her dad or something and then put her dad's name on Donald's pod? Because how else would Anna have written that email to her, to Thurman's email, if she was put in the pod before Donald, after they were both woken up to figure out what was going on with the silos? Like, I don't get it. Also, I answered my own question about Mission's story while talking, because Donald and Thurman were talking to Wick and Rodney from Silo 18, which is the same timeline as Mission, and then Donald was put back to sleep, and I think it said decades later. So it's decades before Juliet, because they wake him up decades later because Juliet's walking over the hill. I answered my own question. I figured out my own connection. I connected it when I was reading it last night. But because I read it at night, my brain took a second to reboot. I have just a little under 200 pages left to go. And every time I'm reading this book, I am just hit with the fact that Dust is so much smaller compared. Like, it's not going to take me that long to read this one. But oh my god, the text is different. Oh my god, it's not a serif font. It's a sans serif font. Oh no! Oh no! I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about it. I also, because Wool is like literally shorter than both Shift and Dust, when I finish it, if I like it enough, I may put these copies in like free little library, in a free little library in my area, and then buy new copies so that they can all be the same size. Because going from 2 books with a serif font, and if you don't understand serif, if that's just a foreign word to you, it's the type of font that has the little feet on them. Again, my camera's not focusing. This one doesn't have that. This font's different. So hopefully that's okay. Hoping to finish this tonight. I know I said that last update, I'm pretty sure, that I wanted to finish this. If you can hear my nephew, he's picking up the living room. He's not picking up. But I hope I can finish this tonight. I have work tomorrow, and so if I finish this tonight, great, and then I can start this tomorrow after work, because I have, from today, 2 weeks before I go see my friend. Tickets have been purchased, dates set, and so I need to finish these, because I know that it's going to be a great surprise, because I'm also going down for their birthday. I'm just so confused though as well about like what is actually going on in Silo 1. What are they doing in there? I will update you guys when I finish this or when I'm part of the way through this, because we know how great I am at updating, because I'm not even like at the beginning of part 3. I am into part 3 right now. Hi. So I forget where I last left off with this, but I am now back from Texas because I didn't finish the book, or the last book. I didn't finish Dust before I left for Texas, but I did finish it on my friend M. I finished it on their birthday. My reviews are up already on Storygraph and Goodreads. I read this one mostly on a plane, so I wasn't able to get like quotes and stuff the way I did for Shift and Wool, but I still really liked it. This series, I rated it very highly, so Dust and Wool are both 5 stars for me, and then Shift is a 4.5. Part of me wants to go in and rate this a 4.75 just because of what the author did to some of the characters, but at the same time, those things really help the story. It's just my emotions. And I liked that, you know, this connected the 2 stories, so it connected both, you know, what happened in Wool and then what happened in Shift, and so it was 2 storylines that kind of, you know, crossed and ended up in here. I liked the arc that Donald went through and what he did, you know, at the end with the Silo, the struggles that Juliet went through, you know, after coming back to the Silo and being, you know, appointed mayor when she didn't want it. She didn't even want to be sheriff in the beginning. And so being appointed to that, and half the Silo just basically not trusting her and not wanting to do what she says and everything, and just learning more about Silo 1 and the whole project. I feel like there's still so many unanswered questions about the Silo project and about, you know, why, and I wish we could have seen into other silos. I really, really liked this series. It was really, really good. So reading all of these, obviously throughout this whole thing, I was saying it's a secret from my friend M. This is his favorite series. Has been trying to get me to read it for years, and recently came out as a show. So when I finished Dust, I watched the trailer. Em and I were going to try and watch it while I was down in Texas, but I was only there for a week and we had other things planned, so it didn't happen. The trailer, though, I can say, I'm gonna put these down because these are heavy to hold. The trailer, I thought it was really well done. The way that the Silo was is how Em and their partner Anton pictured the inside of the Silo. It wasn't how I pictured the inside of the Silo. It was quite literally just a cylinder in the ground with stairs going along the wall, and then there were like outcroppings for like apartments and stuff. That's how I pictured the Silo. That's how I pictured it. That's not how everybody else pictures it. My mind went very literal with just a tube in the ground. I am excited to get to watch it at some point. I might ask M for their like username and password for Apple TV just to watch that. I don't know when I'm gonna watch it, but I am interested in watching it. M said it was really good, and that season 1, if you have read the book but you haven't watched the show yet, or you've watched the show and you want to read the books after, that the first season is about halfway through the book. So it's about halfway through at the end of season 1. So both Em and I are hoping that the show continues going forward. You know, finish the first book, go through the second book, go through the third book, however many seasons it takes. So that's why I definitely want to watch it soon. So that way, you know, boost ratings. Because we all know what happens when really good shows get good ratings, but not good enough. If you have not read these books and you watch this whole video, I'm sorry for spoiling things for you. I did warn you at the beginning. If you've already read these, I would love to hear your opinions on these books. I fully enjoyed it. It took me a while to read it just because I was fighting a reading slump and a little bit of depression. But that's battles that I have to handle on my own. But when I was reading them, I really, really liked them. The story, action-packed, and I fell in love with a lot of the characters. If you don't want any more spoilers for just the series in a whole, I suggest you leave now, because I'm just going to talk about things that I liked and not be spoiler free. I was so shocked when Jans died, and then immediately after Marnes kills himself. I was so sad. I loved them so much. I wanted them to be a couple forever. And instead, they aren't. And they're in the dirt. I'm glad Bernard died. I am. Why didn't they immediately report it to Silo 1? That's something I want to know. Why didn't they immediately report it to Silo 1? Like, hey, our IT head died. So we have a new head. That could have saved them in dust. Could have saved them. And Donald, throughout Shift, you know, in the beginning parts before we realized he was Troy and, you know, he was supposed to be with Helen and then he wasn't, I was like, if you cheat on Helen, I'm gonna be so mad. And he never did. He loved his wife to the point where hundreds of years later, after she and her grandchildren are dead from a different silo, I don't think my camera's focusing, hundreds of years later, Helen, her kids, pretty sure her grandkids, all dead. And he still considers himself married to her and won't give in to Anna. Like, I really like that about him, and that he wouldn't do that to Helen, even though she's, I don't even think bones anymore. And then when he wakes up Anna, I honestly thought he was gonna keep her alive for a little bit to kind of listen to her and figure out what's going on, and instead just immediately kills her. I was so shocked. And then the end of Shift during Dust, he was like, oops, you shouldn't have killed her. And I was like, yeah, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. I also want to know, what is the difference between the two, like, mists also in Silo 18? Because there was the one mist, and you learn, like, that there's a mist from, like, a mushroom or something that makes you forget. And that's the mist that they put through the silo with Mission. I want to know what that dust was, besides the mist that we get in Dust that kills people. The argon. And the fact that got Lucas, also the fact my cat is named Lucas. So that hurt even more to me. Because I love my baby. But I want to know the difference between those and why they decided to use one over the other. I also know one of the reasons they used one over the other, because what they could have done is use the memory wiping mist on them after learning Bernard died, and could have stopped the digging. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just really upset that Lucas died and that he had to tell Jules over the radio, and it was just very emotional. I didn't like it. And also, didn't like the whole child bride thing. That one shocked me. The passage of Luke, like, you kind of basically learning that Luke and Shirley are gone, from Juliet's point of view through the walkie, and then the section where Elise gets married to like a 40-year-old man, this 7-year-old. I reread those passages about 4 times each because I was like, there's no way I read this correctly. There's no way. In my mind, at the end of Dust, they hang out, they stay there for a little bit. You know, they go try and find water. And the rest of Silo 18 comes out shortly after that they actually survived, but there was just rubble in the way. And they couldn't get to each other, okay? That's what I think. Because for my sanity, Luke and Juliet live happily ever after in a world with color instead of the dust-filled world of the silo and the like dome around them. That also very confused on the dome, that they just kind of walk through this dome and they're in perfect world. Like, is that dome supposed to disappear after 200 years and then the one silo that they picked to be the best of them all would leave? I don't know. So many unanswered questions. I need another book. I need Hugh to write another book, or else I'm coming for you. Not a threat, it's a promise. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me of reading the Silo series by Hugh Howey, and I'm gonna go try and figure out how to watch the show. But if you've watched the show, read the books, done both, let me know below if there are any books like these ones that you think I would also enjoy. Put those down below. I have not enough room on my shelves for too many more books, but I'll fit them in. And I'll see you guys in another new video soon. A bientôt!